Hello people, so this was an interesting episode of One Piece 852 and the fight continues between Luffy and Katakuri in the mirror world. Not much is highlighted when it comes to the fight because it goes from the mirror world over to where Chiffon, Sanji and Pudding are make the cake so they can get Big Mom off the backs. And even though I read the manga and I know where it's going to go to, I can't do anything but sad because I know what's ahead and I know this may be leading to something interesting. When I read this in the manga, I think, okay, this is building up Sanji to do something epic, to help out his friends and deal with Big Mom. And all I could do is sigh because I know what's ahead. But I guess the gag still remains with Pudding in a split personality. And one thing that episode highlighted really well was the comedy, which I enjoy out of world building, the characters, and of course, obviously the comedy. So they did that. The fights, of course, if you want to call it a fight, because it's Luffy just getting his ass kicked in the mirror world, with Luffy trying to get third, didn't work. Curry with a kick of his own, and using his mochi and using armored haki, just decimates Luffy. He gets crushed, and then he's literally under the foot of Katakuri. And then, how much cocky can you be when you have the Denden Mushi cart and it's Perospero with it? Yo, he's still alive. Yo, I lost an arm, but I'm still alive. And with giving chase on the Candy Cease log, giving chase to the Sunny, you see a cameo of the Straw Hats trying to do what they can to outrun Big Mom. Ain't gonna work. And if you see the preview, you know what's ahead. If you read the manga, you already know what goes. It's Perospero like, yo, we're gonna take out the Straw Hats. And Katakuri said, yo, I'm gonna take out Luffy, Mugiwara. And it was just a slow build to that point. The animation was actually great. Actually, there's a lot of buzz about this because the key animator was Katsumi Ishizuka, who animated this episode. You can tell there's a clear difference from the previous episode, but I will say this, in terms of action, I thought last week's episode was better, but that's not saying this episode wasn't good. In fact, it's actually, in terms of quality, this was actually better, but in terms of like the fight between Katakuri and Luffy, I think it had more of an impact last week. So, Katakuri uses future sight, his future observation haki. Luffy actually gets back up and it's like, yo, what are you gonna do next? And he's like, yo, the same thing you've done already with speed and strength, nothing to it. So yeah, it's like Luffy getting owned, and again we shift over to Sanji, Pudding, and I guess Chiffon. They make it back to Coco Island, and I guess everybody's still fretting over, I guess, Chiffon. He's like, yo, I gotta put these shackles on you to make it seem like, yo, I captured you because obviously you got your married to Beige, and he's public enemy #1 when it comes to Big Mom pirates. So you're definitely wanted. So Chiffon's like, yo, I gotta go with this. Meanwhile, you got Sanji hiding out in Arabian because obviously Sanji can't be seen as well since he caused a lot of problems with the Straw Hats. In this case, Pudding is actually using a deceptive ways to actually manipulate the public while she helps out Sanji. So it's kind of like what she was doing before, but this time she's actually helping out Sanji. So that's good to see. It seems like, again, the comedy gag is still there. Pudding split personality. She's foaming at the mouth when it comes to Sanji, when it comes to like Sanji actually drawing up the blueprints for the wedding cake, and then Pudding is like just like hiding behind Chiffon. That was great. Then they go over to where they're making the cake. We got the 31 chefs. They actually had an intro for them, by the way, so I thought that was interesting. I think, like, yo, no matter what happens, do not come inside this factory. Do not come inside this bakery while I'm cooking, okay? I'm gonna use something to whip up so I can stop Big Mom's hunger cravings. So don't come in here no matter what. Obviously, manipulate the fact that they can't see Sanji here, and if any member of the Charlotte family comes in, do not let them come in, which is telling to me that somebody of the Charlotte family maybe at some point may end up attacking, or maybe put a stop to Chiffon, Pudding, and Sanji. Because remember, Daifuku struck Pudding at the altar at the wedding, so there's still that unfinished business. We don't know where Smoothie's at right now. I'm assuming she has there's so many more of the Big Mom pirates out there. We know the Vince Smokes are out there. They've been getting their own cameos, so we know that they're still on Whole Cake. So yeah, so it's gonna interesting where they go from here. Already reading the manga, I already know where this goes, but it's interesting how the anime pick the back and forth between Sanji and Pudding. In fact, Pudding actually gets a change of outfits, and she puts on the chef outfit, and immediately Sanji's heart-eyed. But in the roles reversed, and if this were in Dressrosa, same with Viola, she would not care one bit. Or if it was a female, their romantic feelings will not be returned to Sanji. However, Pudding is actually blushing, so it's the complete opposite. So I gotta wonder if this is actually leading to an actual romance by the end of this arc. So just be misleading. Now it seems like legit. Like Pudding really does have like split, even though it's split personality. Where like in the manga she gave Sanji the middle finger, but in the anime, but her innocent side is showing through. She's like, yo, I can't stop blushing over Sanji, and like she's like set herself on fire. So it was hilarious. My friend's out. Speaking of which, Luffy needs the help, and he gets back. The thing that gets him back up, and Perospera's on the Dendamushi, and you know Luffy is fucked when he has to hear the fact that Perospera, you know your friend Pedro, he sacrificed himself for nothing, right? So it gets back up, and then he uses Gear Third. He uses Elephant Gatling, but Katakuri is just dodging like with ease. So it's not even a contest at this point. And he's like, yo, your speed and strength doesn't match up to me. So like I said at the beginning of this fight, Luffy is going to get an education because Katakuri's abilities are the same. Anything you can do, I can do even better. I mean, it's not looking good for Luffy at all. So, but again, the best is yet to come when it comes to Luffy versus Katakuri. So I just want to go over this real quick when it comes to like the key anime for last week's episode for 851 when the fight actually begun. An animator reveals that Dragon Ball influence on Luffy versus Katakuri. This is not the first time we've seen that type of influence in One Piece. And admittedly, when it comes to like finishing fights or fights in One Piece, Oda really isn't the best at it, but he has his moments. So here, it's like what, and he will have his moment later down the road when it comes to Luffy versus Katakuri. Any reads the manga, you know what I'm going with, you know where this is going. So One Piece recently kicked off the much anticipated fight between Luffy and Katakuri. Again, I will leave this article in the description box below. It's also posted on Twitter, so fans noticed a similarity between Luffy and Katakuri's quick movements, and the fights are found in the Dragon Ball franchise. Again, nothing new. I mean, usually sometimes this happens. It turns out that one of the animators actually drew influence from Dragon Ball in order to effectively capture the speed of Luffy versus Katakuri in the Mirror World. Now, I don't want to post any spoilers or anything, but the fact that they're introducing speed now to highlight this fight, just imagine what's going to happen when Luffy and Katakuri get into high gear in the Mirror World. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? I'll go for this post on Twitter. It was a competition of speed. I used some Dragon Ball style when I was animating this part. I appreciated that a lot. Received the trust from Mr. Kurita and other staff in the future. Will animate more action scenes between Luffy and Katakuri. So please look forward to it. So that to me is like telling if that taking this fight seriously, which I'm glad they did from last week's episode. Obviously the animation was way better this week, but you put some effort into this fight, which is good for us because we knowing what's ahead, it's only gonna get better from here. So the first fight obviously premiered, mentioned this about their Dragon Ball influences. It was a competition of speed, so I appreciated it a lot that I received the trust from episode director Kurita and other staff when Luffy's fight with Katakuri began. Luffy used Gear Second in order to try and outrun Katakuri, but Katakuri proving he can do everything Luffy can do but better. I mean, when he used the Gatling to like smash Luffy into the wall, even more brutal than last week because Luffy ended up bleeding by the end of this episode. So, and not only did he mock Luffy, he actually does respect Luffy to a certain extent because he's like, yo, you're a threat. So if I don't take you out now, you're going to become a problem to Big Mom in the future. We saw that in the previous episode. And Katakuri just got serious. Like, I mean, nowhere near what he can do, but he's not screwing around. So in this instance, Katakuri dodging obviously Elephant Gatling. So you obviously get the point. The influences spawn from Dragon Ball, and then again, this is not the first time we've seen this type of action in One Piece. It probably won't, hopefully, won't be the last. And according to this, it won't be. So obviously, Luffy versus Rob Lucci, that was some major influence from Dragon Ball, and that was one of the most epic fights and arcs in the series. If past has taught us anything, this could be very epic for the anime. So I can't wait to see what they do with this. Ends obviously, like I said, Perospero putting down Luffy was like, yo, Pedro, that useless good for nothing, sacrifice himself for nothing. You're gonna do the same thing and die in vain, trying to take care of Katakuri. In the meantime, you've got Katakuri waking up Brule because they're like, yo, let's take the father and go onto the sunny and burn it down because obviously we still have a job to do. My job is to keep Mugiwara and take him out. So Luffy's goal, I mean, he obviously got distracted. He knew what was going down. It's like, okay, I gotta do something quick. And you see like the eye glowing up. That is some major foreshadowing for sure. And I'm not gonna say what it is, but those who read the manga, you know where this is going later down the road. So that's all I'm gonna say. So I appreciate that. So, like I said, Luffy's going to get an education as the fight goes on because obviously the abilities are and the Devil Fruit abilities are pretty much the same. And it pretty much ends with Luffy getting wrecked, trying to get back up, and he sees like, I guess the flaming arrows onto the Sunny, and they were going to invade. As Luffy like, don't do it. But I'm guessing he couldn't use Conqueror's Haki at that point, so it's going to be interesting to see how they incorporate this. And like I said last week, like the mirror that was ended up randomly getting shattered, I immediately said there's going to be another mirror that leads to the Sunny. And in the episode preview for next week, you do see a shot of Nami tearing up. So I got to wonder if that's leading towards what's happening with Luffy in the mirror world. So Jinbei's taking the helms literally next week. Sunny's safe, or at least partially safe from Big Mom. So Jinbei's going to have to do something epic, which he will, playing his role even further. Although I thought this was a decent episode of One Piece when it highlighted the comedy and it got the message across that Luffy has to go above and beyond. This is only the beginning of the fight. It's not even going to scratch the surface. So let me know guys down below. That's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Like this review if you did. Subscribe to the channel for One Piece. Catch you guys later. Bye.